Hey guys, and welcome back to Dan's Devotion Den, where we take Bible stories, we break it down, and we apply it to everyday life. My name is Danny Everett, and if this is your first time tuning in, don't feel too bad. I just started doing these last week, so you guys really only missed one. Just don't miss any more. Water. So, anyways, like I said, we do these every Thursday, and last week was the first one. We were last week in Jonah chapter 1. This week we're going to be in chapter 2, next week 3, and there's 4 chapters in Jonah, and then after we finish out the 4th chapter of Jonah, we'll talk about something else, another topic, and we'll break those down. We'll apply everything to our everyday lives. This is mostly geared towards kids, but we also want to welcome parents to join. And really what we would like to encourage is for the family devotion time at home with with families. If parents can get with their kids and do devotionals together, and if Dan's Devotion Den is something that can encourage that, then to God be the glory. That'd be amazing. So definitely, we want to gear these towards the kids. We can break these down and apply it to life. Just a quick recap. Jonah chapter 1. God gave Jonah a task, a mission to go preach to the people of Nineveh, this corrupt city. And Jonah didn't want to have to do that. God was so angry with the city, he was going to wipe them off the planet. And Jonah wanted to see that happen. So when God says, before I do that, just talk to these people first. Jonah skipped out on his mission. He went and sailed away from Nineveh. He went to Tarshish away. And God, he thought he could run from God. And God caught up with him while he was on the boat, brought a storm and pretty much everybody that was on the boat were afraid, for their lives, that the storm would kill them all. And then they determined that it was Jonah, the storm was brought on because he skipped out on doing what God wanted to do. So they reached the decision that the way to calm the storm was to throw Jonah overboard. They threw him overboard. The storm, was calm. And then a strange thing happened. A big fish came and swallowed up Jonah. So this is where we are now in Jonah chapter 2. It brings us here. And most of chapter 2 is Jonah while he's inside of the belly of the fish and he's praying. So this is mostly, chapter 2 is just the prayer. So we're going to pick up and we're going to take this and we're going to apply this to everyday life. Jonah's prayer. Jonah chapter 2. From inside the fish, Jonah prayed to the Lord his God. He said, "In my distress, I called to the Lord, and he answered me. From the depths of the grave, I called for help, and you listened to my cry. You hurled me into the deep, into the very heart of the seas, and the current swirled about me. All your waves and breakers swept over me. I said, I have been banished from your sight. Yet I will look again toward your holy temple. The engulfing waters threatened me. The deep surrounded me. Seaweed was wrapped around my head. To the roots of the mountains I sank down. The earth beneath borrowed me in forever. But you brought my life up from the pit, O Lord my God. When my life was ebbing away, I remembered you, Lord, and my prayer rose to you, your holy temple. Those who cling to worthless idols forfeit the grace that could be theirs. But I, with a song of thanksgiving, will sacrifice to you. What I have vowed I will make good. Salvation comes from the Lord." And the Lord commanded the fish, and it vomited Jonah onto dry land. So, Jonah got vomited out of the fish's mouth onto dry land. So, let me break this down and ask you guys a question. When do you pray? Think about it. When do you pray? Do you pray before you eat? Pray before you go to sleep? Throughout the day? When do you pray? There's a couple things that I kind of want to bring to your attention. And it's a thing that's crucial to kind of understand. Is the power of prayer. And the understanding that prayer prepares us for anything that life's going to throw at us. Whatever storms may come our way, whatever battles we might face, whatever challenges that we have in our lives, when you're constantly in prayer, that prepares you for when these trials and these battles come your way, it'll help you prepare to take these things on. Because the Bible does say that not if the storms of life come, but when these storms come. We are going to endure hardship. There's going to be a lot of things that happen in our lives, a lot of bad things that might happen in our lives. But the way to prepare for anything that life throws at us is to constantly being in prayer. So, and that's the thing. You don't want to wait like Jonah. Because, Jonah, he tried to get away from the Lord's assignment. He tried to get away from doing what the Lord wanted him to do. He tried to get away from the Lord. You can't hide from the Lord. So, it's kind of ironic because Jonah spent the time trying to flee from God to where, he ended up in the belly of a fish. He couldn't go anywhere. There was no escaping. And it's there where he's praying to the Lord, because what else is he going to do? Where else is he going to go? And just to warn you all, don't wait for the Lord to be your last result. Whenever you face hard challenges in life, make that, your prayer life priority number one. Include the Lord in your decision making and your plans and anything that you might be going through, even if it's small, even if it's just being thankful. The power of prayer is crucial to everything we do, and it's what we stand for. I want to talk about Jesus, because, he's the perfect example for us all to follow, especially when it comes to prayer. And one of the prayers that I want to talk about is when Jesus prayed on the Mount of Olives just before he got arrested and crucified on the cross. He knew what he was going to have to go and do. He knew that he had to die on the cross the way that he had to die. He knew that he had to do it in order for us to be forgiven and have salvation, the hope of eternal life. It had to happen that way. And he understood what it would cost him. He had to prepare for that, what was going to happen. And just like I said earlier, prayer prepares you for all the hard stuff that life throws at you. This couldn't be more evident here and what I'm about to read in Luke chapter 22 when Jesus went to that Mount of Olives to pray. This is after he had his last supper with his disciples. He brought his friends, the disciples with him up to the Mount of Olives to pray with him. But the thing was, they couldn't stay awake to pray with him. They were all tired. They had a long day. And Jesus was troubled. His soul was troubled because he knew what he was going to go face and what he had to do. The disciples had no clue. So anyways, in Luke chapter 22, starting at verse 39, Jesus went out as usual to the Mount of Olives, and his disciples followed him. On reaching the place, he said to them, "Pray that you will not fall into temptation." He withdrew about a stone's throw beyond them, knelt down and prayed, "Father, if you are willing, take this cup from me, yet not my will, but yours be done." An angel of heaven appeared to him and strengthened him. And being in anguish, he prayed more earnestly, that his sweat was like drops of blood falling to the ground. When he rose from prayer and went back to the disciples, he found them asleep, exhausted from sorrow. "Why are you sleeping?" he asked them. "Get up and pray, that you will not fall into temptation." So Jesus, he was praying so fervently, with so much passion, knowing that what he had to go do, die on a cross. He was praying at a fever pitch. He was so stressed out. Sweat was dropping like drops of blood to the ground. He was hurting. He was scared. He needed strengthened. He needed to prepare for what he had to do. And that's what he was doing. And he told his disciples, "Please stay awake. Don't fall asleep. Don't fall into temptation." And they couldn't keep their eyes open. He went back after he was praying, and they were out there, they were down sleeping. And he warns them, "Get up and pray so that you will not fall into temptation." So what happened after that? Well, what happened was Jesus was arrested. All the bad things started happening that Jesus knew was going to happen. They took him, they arrested him, they killed him on the cross. But Jesus did not sin. He did not fall into temptation, and he went through everything that he had to do for God's glory, and also for the sake of us. He went through everything. That praying prepared him for what he had to endure. Now, on the flip side, what was the result with the disciples? They did not pray. So they were not prepared for what happened to Jesus. That they all scattered and they all abandoned him. They all ran and fled for their lives. Not one of the 12 disciples went to the cross with Jesus. But they were overcome with fear. They scattered. They all fell short. They all sinned. They all fell into temptation. And that's the difference of when you pray and when you prepare for when the things happen, the storms of life come. When you're prepared, that's because you've prayed. You will not fall into temptation. You will be ready for whatever life throws your way. The disciples were not ready. They all sinned. They all fell short of the glory of God that day. They all fell into temptation. Prayer prepares you for battle. And, sometimes in life things are hard. Sometimes out of the blue we get bad phone calls where we might lose a loved one. People might get sick. All sorts of bad things. Mommy and daddy might lose their job. Things happen in life. But to be prepared for whatever life throws your way. Every single day when you get up, the first thing you think about is, okay, I'm going to drop to my knees. I'm going to pray. And whatever life throws my way, the Lord's going to be with me. And when these storms happen, when all the bad things happen, the Lord is right there with you. The Lord will never abandon you. And a lot of times, we go through things and it's like we feel so alone in our struggle, so alone in things that we're dealing with. But the Lord is always right there with you. But a lot of times, we don't cry to him the way we should. A lot of times we sometimes use the Lord as a last result. If things really are going a bad way for us, that might be the one time that we drop to our knees and pray. Other than maybe the occasional, God is great, God is good, thank you for the food, and now lay me down to sleep, We need to have that personal relationship with the Lord. The power of prayer is awesome. But prayer is also good for us. It helps us prepare for whatever life throws our way. So I want to encourage you guys to strengthen your prayer life. First thing, foremost, when you wake up, pray to the Lord. All throughout your day, take time if you're, whenever, just to talk to the Lord. And just make it a priority. Your prayer life, make that number one. So again, this is week 2. Tune in to week 3. And what I'd like to do is at the end of all these 4 weeks in Jonah, I'd like to have like a little messenger thing where whoever's tuning in, we can all get on this messenger chat. We can talk about it. I'd like to kind of do these on Saturday. So if you're interested, just message me or just comment, and we'll get together, to where we can meet and we'll develop this thing. I'm thinking this will probably take place on Saturdays. So anyways, think about it, and hope you guys have a great day. Tune in next Thursday for Jonah chapter 3, and love you guys. Y'all have a great day.